like to welcome everyone to our first session. Our session for today will cover micro and macro business bank lending. Thank you everybody for your patience. I think currently we've got Mr. Vizi Biela as one of our panelists. I think given that some of our other panelists are having issues in connecting, I think they will find us as we continue. Yeah, so without any further ado, thank you everyone for joining this session. My name is Lebohang Legoba. I'm the head of media and publications for the BMF Soweto branch. As the BMF Soweto branch, I think Soweto is a need, given that the challenges that small businesses, and in particular Black small businesses, are facing in this tough time, and possibly we saw it that possibly we can play a role in terms of clarifying how small businesses can enhance their relationships with banks in terms of lending. So hence, we saw it as a need to come up with this topic of micro and macro business lending. Yeah, so as such, I'd like to welcome everybody. So currently, one of our panel members is Mr. Vizi Biela. I think I'd like to allow him to introduce himself, his name and surname, organization he comes from, as well as the position he's holding within his organization. Mr. Vizi Biela, the floor is yours, sir, and you are welcome to switch on your camera.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, thanks. My name is Vizi Biela. I'm here in Soweto. I grew up in Soweto. The organization that I'm attached to is more than one, but the one that I'm wearing the cap of, it's Mulimong wa Gauta Primary Cooperative, which is a primary cooperative that was formed in 2018 with the main focus of facilitating access of funding to SMMEs. I'm the advisor there because I come from a tertiary cooperative that is called from National Professional Tertiary Cooperative of South Africa, which is the mentor of Mulimong wa Gauta on this road of paving the way to facilitate access of sustainable SMME funding. I thought I'll have a chance to project my conversation, but I don't know if my slides have reached Ntate Hlongwa, but I'll talk to them even if others can't see them. My topic is self-help initiatives to facilitate access to sustainable SMME funding. SMMEs must adopt a strategy of self-help. You know, when you need help, it's easier for others to help you when you are also doing something to help yourselves. So as SMMEs, what can we do strategically and collectively to attract funding and investment in our businesses? The answer that I want to talk about today is we can achieve that through strategic cooperation, not just cooperation or coming together to be exploited, but let us cooperate strategically. Once we do that, the results will be partnerships that will be mutually beneficial. When we partner with other like-minded institutions, it could be the CFAs from the government, the commercial banks. If we are collective, okay, if our approach is collective, but strategically, we will eliminate the chances of being exploited. At the same time, we can achieve what the government has put in place, even to assist our small companies. But at the moment, it's only benefiting big corporates. What is that? That is the skills development program that is supported by the SETAs. Once we cooperate strategically, we can access that avenue of helping our SMMEs to facilitate access of funding. At the same time, let's make use of this strong cooperation to participate actively in shaping legislations that are aimed at improving our situation. One of the legislation that the government of Gauteng is busy with is the Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill. We can ask ourselves as individual SMME owners, have we had a chance to look at that bill and express our opinion, give our advice, because that bill is going to affect us. So that's where I'm saying we can achieve the 3 milestones I've talked about if we can cooperate as SMMEs strategically. You know, the term strategic is not a business term. It's borrowed from the army, from the war. Because if you go to the war without strategy, you'll never come back. If you come back, it will be just by sheer luck. But if you strategize, you maximize the chances of coming back. So it is in the same vein that this term is employed in business. Going to business without a strategy, you are gone, and you'll never know how did you lose it. So one of the current conducive environment that is existing in our country that can help us to strategize and cooperate effectively. Let's make use of the positive legislations that our government have passed. Our democratic government has passed an effective act, which is called Cooperative Act number 14 of 2005. This act has undergone some amendments so that it can be effective. The amendment that has been introduced in 2013 and has been put in place to be effective as from 2020 is amended Cooperatives Act number 6 of 2013. What does it mean, this amendment? For the first time, our government realized that cooperatives, just by assembling 5 people who have got no business experience, is not working. It has proven over the past 10 years since the act was passed that it didn't work. That's why the government had to go to the drawing board and amend the act. And this Cooperative Act number 6 of 2013 is now allowing businesses as juristic persons to be involved in forming, supporting cooperative to support themselves, which does not mean that you must close your businesses and come to open your one business. It means create a vehicle that is going to support the success and growth of your business. We've seen this happening in other countries. Go to Germany, Canada, and other countries. These structures helping SMMEs to play a meaningful role in creating jobs, not just spaza jobs, but decent jobs. How do they do that? It's because through this strategy, they create a vehicle in which they can get good service for accounting facilities, for technology. If you are in the retail, speed points and others, you may not manage to do it by yourself, but through the vehicle that is supporting your businesses, that can be possible.
I'm sorry, Mr. Biela, just to come in there. I see Ndate Stephens Ndate has joined us. I'd also like to afford him an opportunity to introduce himself. So Ndate, we have already commenced with our event today. So in order to afford the audience in terms of your background, your organization you come from, and what position you hold. Yes, and furthermore, just in order for our attendees to get the maximum impact of this session, we would like at the end of the day the following to be answered. I think the first would be that given COVID-19, how are banks, or how is your bank assisting members of the business community, especially small business communities, in applying for lending? And then if there are difficulties that are being faced, how is the bank resolving those issues, given that COVID-19 that has happened and the unusual business environment that is happening? Yes. Ndate, yes. And please also switch on your video.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say thank you very much for sending an invitation to us. My name is Steven Sintenteng. I represent FNB Business Banking. The invitation was extended to me by one of the local manager based at Proteatland. What I do look after is I'm looking after the business relationship with the bank, with FNB, in the 10 million to 60 million turnover space. So I take note, or I take cognizance of the questions that you have posed. There is somebody that has prepared a slide that is going to present. His name is Ephraim. I cannot see him as part of the panelist, but I think maybe he's having some struggle with the network joining, and then he will be able to prepare, or maybe to talk what he has prepared. The questions that you have asked towards the end of the session, we will be able to provide you with the answers that you're looking for. And if we are not able to provide you with the answers, we will indicate, and then I'm sure there will be a way that we can communicate back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ndate. I think maybe we can go back to Ndate Biela. Ndate Biela, thank you for providing us with the framework in terms of lending from a cooperative perspective. I'd like to pose the same questions to yourselves in terms of how are you assisting small businesses, especially those based in Soweto, and especially those that are Black-owned, in terms of obtaining access to funding? And then if there are challenges with regards to lending requirements that small business need to meet and they're unable to, How are you as a cooperative coming within that gap to fill that space?
Okay, let me continue from where I left off, because those questions will be addressed.
Okay, thank you.
I said, let's take advantage as SMMEs, because I'm one of the SMMEs that has participated in forming a funding cooperative. That funding cooperative is called Molemong wa Gauteng. It is designed to focus on SMME lending and trigger attracting other funders like my brother Ndeteng from FNB. Those are the funders that we want to attract to come and help us, and we play together in this space. But how are we going to do that? That's the advice I'm going to talk about, directed to SMMEs, and also sharing that with the commercial banks. The government has paved the way to make funding of SMMEs sustainable, but the government can't do it for us, because the government has put in place the mechanism of this cooperative business model, which is a worldwide model. It's not a South African model. In other countries, it's more than 150 years, and it has worked even whether you are a developed country or a developing country. As you can read about it, how it works in Canada and how it works in Germany and other European countries. But why is it not working in South Africa? Why is it not working in most of African countries? It's because we are coming from colonization, which made our minds to expect somebody to do things for us. Only God can do that, but even God does it in a limited way, because he has given you the mind to think, the hands to work. He can't do everything. So thinking that big banks, government can do everything won't take us anywhere. Let's make use of the existing legal structure and the opportunities and threats that we're facing at the moment because of COVID-19, and either wake up calls like the unrest. Let them work positively to open our minds to look for solutions, because solutions won't come from heaven. But fortunately, we also have got local structures in our townships that are busy working to assist small businesses with ideas and other things. Those local structures, if they can cooperate among themselves, that can pave the way to cooperate with the government agencies. Like if the government is making available financial assistance to small businesses, if those financial assistance can come through via our own local structures, who can cooperate with the big banks and so on, that can reach the SMMEs much quicker. The other advantage we've got in our townships, and even in rural areas, we've got a pool of trainable young people who have gone to tertiary education, but they are without jobs. Those young people, if we act together as SMMEs to form a vehicle that can facilitate their training and be put into into internships. Internships can be done within SMMEs, because the sitters now are willing to work with SMMEs that can ensure sustainable implementation of the skills development program. So what do we need to do then as small businesses so that we can have accessible, sustainable business funding? Let's take part, an active part in forming these structures, which are called supporting cooperatives. Not cooperatives of 5 people, like the ones we know from the government officials. Let's do it the international way, the way it has been done for the past 150 or more years. Through that system, we can have vehicles in our sectors, retail sector, we can have a vehicle, agricultural sector, various sectors, artisan sector, those vehicles which are organized in a cooperative fashion, supported by the legal Cooperative Act, can cooperate to form a coordinated and integrated system that can solve some of our problems. The cooperative system is not a system that can solve everything, but it can have an impact of linking us with the support we need. Take into account the banks that are sitting with millions. They even get millions via the government to assist the small businesses. But it takes them time to assess the small businesses if they qualify for that help. Sometimes when they do this assessment, they find that small businesses does not even have financials. That small businesses is not even submitting yearly returns to CIPRO or to the taxman. Then they end up not being helped. That's where our supporting cooperative structures can intervene through the pool of youth that we've got, who can easily go to the small businesses to do their books, using the technology that we've got and the infrastructure we've got. They don't even need to take the books from the business. They put them in the computer, put them in the centralized system, they come and interpret them to the business owner. In that way, the business owner is able to make decisions based on information. In that way, the business owner is able to prove through the bank that his or her business is transparent, which is the tension for the bank to make the money available. If we've got legal vehicles like cooperatives that are supporting SMMEs, we can implement business education and training to empower the owners of the businesses and the employees. Every year, the sitters are calling for SMMEs to submit the names of the people to be trained. But if we don't have a vehicle to link to those programs, we'll end up being left behind and have a staff that are just enjoying a temporary job, the spaza job. When they are called by the corporate company, they just leave you without notice because we'll not be empowering them. As SMMEs, there's this golden opportunity that the government has opened. We can come together strategically and form our own small CFIs. Those are cooperative financial institutions. There's a bank where you are an owner, a bank in your vicinity, the bank that knows you, the bank where you can be a board member and influence the policies of that bank. And those CFIs, we've got about 30 or so of them in South Africa, but they are not cooperating. Because of lack of cooperation, they don't have an impact. But if as businesses, we participate in forming those small cooperative banks, those banks can easily be influenced to look at our businesses as clients that needs to be funded. And when the government makes the funding available, that funding can come via our own cooperative banks, which knows us, and we're sitting on those boards, and will be facilitating the access of funding for SMMEs.
I'm sorry, I need to come in there. I think the panelist that was referred to before, this is Ephraim Lehonono. I think he's managed to join us. I'm sorry to cut you short. I think looking at the time and as well as the presentation that they have prepared, in order to afford everyone an opportunity to hear both from yourself as well as from FNB, and as well as possibly maybe our audience may have questions in the end. Yes, I think I would like to give Ntatele Honono an opportunity to introduce himself, the organization is from, and the position he has. And
okay. Evening, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Evening, everyone. Name is Ephraim Lehonono. I basically head up Jablani Node as in under the Soweto local market. So like Steve has mentioned, I'm an LMM, so meaning I'm a local market manager. So basically I head up the 3 branches, it's Protea Lane and Protea Gardens. With what being said or what was posed pertaining to the actual event, first thing first, I just want to highlight that, like Stephen has mentioned, in fact, from the bank perspective, remember I'm from the branch perspective. So from the branch perspective, what happens is currently we're having a collaboration. So hence the invite was actually extended to 2 of my colleagues, which is the growth segment manager, which is Temba Zondi. Unfortunately, he also could not make it as well. And then Stephen, I invited him, who's also from commercial, who basically head up or basically focuses on certain portfolio of business accounts of business clients. So with what Wabu, the previous speaker was mentioning, I've heard and I liked most of the things that he's highlighted. To be honest, when it comes to the banking system, first thing first, let me perhaps try to give people, the audience, what model does the business use currently? And yes, we as a business or F&B as a whole has seen it that previously there was a bit of a challenges. Yes, with the policies that were being implemented, SMMEs for one, we're supposed to be, or we are supposed to be the ones who are assisting them and stuff like that. However, the business has seen that and the business has realized that there is a challenge. Hence, today I stand up here as a local market manager, meaning there's a vast collaboration between the branch perspective to your commercial, to your business segment, which is, like I said, there's various divisions that are actually involved in the business. So what actually happens is we work hand in hand with business segment guys and also the commercial guys. So in that being said, usually most clients, we do meet, like Ubabu Lemzana has mentioned, AMA cooperatives that comes in Soweto. I think people are aware of what fundings are there, but the question becomes then, if maybe it's an SMME, how do we then actually help them to grow as a business? So that's why the business focus now, or the bank's focus, it's all about talking money manager, because we are aware that with regards to these small SMMEs, we need to be there, or we need to be catalyst in actually growing these businesses, because our focus, it's, as it says, having to make sure that we build up or we grow the local market. So that's where a person like I comes in, because in Soweto, basically, there's 2 of the local market managers. So our duty is to ensure as well, in support of what Ubaba Riela was saying, especially the SMMEs, how do we best grow the SMMEs that we currently have in Soweto? Most of the time, you realize that there's more of startups, there's more of, I would also like to go and maybe apply for a tender. And a lot of those we've seen, and usually they don't, most of the time you find that they won't even make it. So hence the business focus or model is that going forward, how about those that we already have or in existence, we collaborate with. To make an example, just this earlier today, I had a meeting with an MPO. Basically, we bring organizations together the minute I go out, and then try and see how can they best maybe build a value chain amongst each other, because the purpose is to develop, and ultimately what we're looking for is that how do we best make sure that Soweto rises up and Soweto, it becomes the number 1, because if you look at the economy alone, and Soweto in actual fact is big, just looking at Jabulani, even though we're going under this looting issues and all that, but just that mall alone on a normal business day, it's basically, there's never a day where we will say it's a month end. It's a on a daily basis, it's always packed. And if I were to count the number of accounts or clients that we get, whom wants to go and start, and those who are running businesses. So with the current situation that we've been in around the pandemic, I will also like to highlight that we have seen a lot of people who are coming through who maybe have probably who may probably have been affected by the what you call this thing, the pandemic alone. However, we have been working hand in hand, like I said, with the most majority of our divisions to try and see how can we best maybe bring the people back, because you will find that these very same people that have fallen, these people who are very influential, and the very same people who are actually how can I put it, as one of the best or the leaders within Soweto. So as a local market manager, then that's basically make sure that I identify those, identifying those the leaders or the relevant stakeholders within the local market, which is now in Soweto as a whole. That is going to help us to also start maybe joining certain forums like the ECD's forums, like your NPO's forums. Those are the things that we're trying to do, because by us getting through to these people, it basically means what it basically means is that in that way, we don't have to be waiting for clients to come into the bank, but rather we are going out there to make sure that we serve where actually the customers need us the most. So in so saying, what I'm saying is we are in support, and it's not like the bank doesn't actually, in actual fact, in totality, assist where it's needed. The bank is actually opening up its hand, and the bank is actually they've come up with the model, and they've realized that, you know what, the people are there and they actually need us. So hence we are forever on the ground and making sure that the people are there. In case, for one, I have an issue in my branch, or any of my branches, I know that I can phone Steve at any time, who can as well assist, and not just only from Steve. I can as well contact maybe those who are above him, which is the head of the departments, who can as well speed up the process. So what it means is, or what I'm trying to say is, actually we are there, we are available. It's a matter of people coming through and then knowing exactly where are we, and then with them coming through to us, it doesn't mean we will always be able to help and there and there. But whenever there is help where we can, we will definitely try and push to make sure that we come up with solutions, because, like I said, we are in support of making sure that we develop Soweto as a whole. And the only time when Soweto can actually develop, that's when the economy of it is looking right. So our primary task is to ensure that those SMMEs that Babu Sviano was talking about, we actually take care of them and we grow profiles. Hence, we've got the likes of Mr. Zondi and Mr. Ntenteng from the business perspective.
Thank you so much, Ngatele Honon. I think there's a hand that has been raised. I think possibly there's questions to both Ntate Ntenteng and yourself. I think this hand was raised by Sipho Hlongwa. He's the current chairperson of BMF Soweto branch. Sipho, I think I've allowed you to be able to express your question. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair of the event, and thank you to your panelists. I greet you all, panelists and members of the audience. I'm going to address a comment to Mr. Biela, and then I'm also going to make a question to Ephraim Lihonono from FNB. Insofar as Mr. Biela is concerned, I am very delighted to hear that there is such a cooperative, and it is clearly a cooperative through which a lot can be gained by small and medium enterprises. So maybe let me just reverse back and say, I would like to know, Uguti, what has been their success ever since they were formed. I think he said 2018. That is the first thing. And then secondly, what has been the attitude of the banks and other institutions, the SETAs and government, whenever they have approached them? What type of response did they get? And then I want to move directly to FNB. Now, I heard that FNB is serious about value chain, and I beg to differ. And these are the examples that I want to cite. Number one, corroboration. I am not aware of any collaboration between FNB and local players, be it in small or medium enterprise and any other business structures through which FNB can get valuable advice, valuable assistance on how to deal with local-based problems and what type of solutions can they get by collaboration. So I don't think they're serious about that. And secondly, when I look at their value chain system, more so in which they are using external parties in order to reward their clients. If you look at their reward system, you would hardly find a black company where you will get points. You'll get points if you buy a discount or you get a discount, but none of those are black-owned entities. So I don't think they're serious about value chain. And lastly, when it comes to procurement, almost everything from their card to the IT system, cleaning, uniform, security, none of it is black. And you can't tell me that in South Africa and more so in the townships where they are trading, they cannot find such service providers. So I'm not persuaded that they are serious about any value chain development or support. I just think they are maintaining the status quo because you look at everything that they do, it promotes whites, it's about white business, and very little goes back to the black community in the true sense of the word. I'm not talking about mediocre talk. I'm talking about real value chain inclusion and development and cooperation and collaboration. That's what I want to say.
I'm sorry, so Sipo, I think let us give the panel an opportunity to answer your questions.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Thank you.
All right, and then before we continue, I think we've got John Tusi from Bank of Soweto, who has just joined us. My apologies for not adding you to the panel. John Tusi, I think we've already had presentation from the two panelists. I think maybe if you can also introduce yourself, your position, as well as your organization you're coming from.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible enough.
You are audible. Please also switch on your camera.
No, I'd rather not do that. I don't know if are you okay with it?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Good. Yeah. My name is John Tusi. I'm from an organization called Bank of Soweto. We are a CFI. We're not yet registered as a CFI, but we're in the process of registering a CFI. Yeah. So that's the short and sweet of it. Thanks.
Thanks, Ndate Tusi. Yeah. So I think the question that was raised by I think if you can answer questions related to yourself from a cooperative's perspectives and question related to the bank, You can go ahead.
I was just cut off when Hlongwa was speaking. I just come right at the end. I couldn't hear the question. Maybe you can just paraphrase it for me.
Sipho, if you don't mind rephrasing your question, but in a much shorter version.
Yes, I will. I would only rephrase the one to Mr. Biela. Okay, Mr. Biela, the question that I was asking you is that since your registration, what has been your success in a very nutshell? And then secondly, what has been the response of the banks, government, and the SETAs, if you have ever approached them for collaboration or cooperation? Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Hlongwa. The success that we've had since registration of our cooperative in 2018, we've managed to strike partnerships with other fellow cooperators. We've got a partnership with GIG CFI, which is one of the reputable CFIs within the Reserve Bank. We also have got partnerships which are reduced in writing with a prospective CFI, which is called Akani, because those CFI are very important to take deposits from the members, because Mulimo Soweto is not a CFI, but is a facilitator for business funding. The other success we've had, we've collaborated with Bank SETA in 2020, and we were approved to run an internship, but unfortunately it was disturbed by the COVID, because we didn't have virtual means through which the people we take into internship can operate from homes. But as we have progressed into this digitization, I think we'll be able to do that. So there is some success with Bank SETA at the moment. We are looking forward to having collaboration with the other SETAs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ntate Biela. Ntate Lehonono, I think there was a question directed at yourself as a representative of FNB. Yeah. If you can also answer that question. And then I see Itumeleng Sibeho has raised a question. Yeah, maybe we should allow them to ask those questions first, and Lot Unkwana to raise a question. Itumeleng, I think you can go first.
Thank you. Itumeleng Sibeho, yeah, I'm from Midrand. I think the president echoed parts of my question or statement. First, in regards to value chain and honest, sincere assessment from an FNB or any other bank perspective around how to incorporate small business in there. I didn't really get much from Ishmael on actions, decisive actions that they're doing around incorporating SMMEs into their value chain. Where are they sourcing products from? Why not in Soweto incorporate SMMEs to source products from, and not only engage them at opening a bank account level, but saying, what business are you in? Here's a platform where you can join our value chain and we can support your growth. Because it's nonsensical to have all these other suppliers that are maybe from other regions or not necessarily representing the areas that they're in, Black, predominantly, cultured areas, and you have suppliers from external. So that's a very important area for me to get clarity on what actually is happening. I didn't get a sense of that. And then I think from that was from a cooperative perspective space, maybe, sorry, from an FNB again quickly. From an FNB perspective, the criteria for SMMEs to access funding is nonsensical, especially the type of businesses that would be in a township. Are there any honest thoughts around working on that criteria to cater for SMMEs in Soweto or any other area that would be different to SMMEs incentive? Those two things for me, I think, are critical to get an understanding of, because I didn't really get much from the actual actions being taken there.
Thank you, Itumeleng. Before that question can be answered, I think one last question from Lot. Lot, please ask your question.
Thank you, Lebogang. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lot Nkwana from Soweto. I'd like to direct my question to Ntate Aprem Honono from FNB. In broad strokes, I would like to know what exactly is FNB looking for if one comes from the perspective of a small business startup, with the works, your business plan, incorporating your marketing plan and all of that. What does FNB actually look for in terms of security when one is looking for funding? And if one was to be successful in terms of acquiring some funding, are they going to require, and if they're going to require, what sort of collateral? So I'm just asking from a broad sense of view, like if I was to knock at their doors tomorrow with a proposal, an idea, a research business idea, what is it that I'm likely to expect? Thank you.
Thank you. Ndate Ephraim, I think if I can give you an opportunity to answer the questions before I've noted Mkotladi. Yeah, we will come back to you. Ndate Ephraim, yeah, if you can.
Okay. No, thanks, Chair. I think from Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Nkwane, question, I think of which it's actually relevant. And I've heard from the two gentlemen as well, and especially with what Itumeleng is talking about. But just to answer, starting from Mr. Nkwane or Sipo, with regards to what he's talking about in connection with the collaboration part. So with regards to the collaboration, like I said, the business has seen it that they've devised a new model. And now with that new model, I liked what Mr. Nkwane has touched on with regards to which actually place have we actually started getting in contact with. Like he said, how long, basically, I feel that his question is more like, how long are we going to take in order for us to get to that level whereby we know exactly which forums are relevant and which forums actually do we need to be in contact with. So, just to answer that, Mr. Babusibo, is that that's why we today, you've got a local market manager versus your area manager who would not probably be in the branches. And then previously we'd have only a branch manager who sits only in the branch and his focus is actually in the branch. So currently we as local market managers, like I said, we talk of money managers, we talk of who are the relevant stakeholders out there, who are the big players, who are the guys whom do we need to get in contact with. So to answer that, what I would say is that we as a business, I've got basically an army that goes out as well to go and hunt. So when it comes to who do we speak to, yes, that's exactly what we are actually chasing, and that's exactly what we want to achieve at the end of the day. So that's why you see me today, when invited to such platforms, we are here to make sure that, okay, guys, please know that that goes to everyone and all the audience, that know that this is what's happening currently. There is relevant people that today you can be able to speak to or actually get in contact with. That's why you see us lately, you'll find us around offices to councillors' offices and all that. Sometimes you're not gonna get the relevant players. We had guys coming from your commercial space, we had guys coming from all different segments and coming in so to just making a tour so that they understand who are the relevant players. Like I said, we are seeking those people. And as FNB, we actually intend in making sure that we get hold of those people, and then our job is to collaborate. Like as Babu Sipo says, if you are collaborating, who exactly are you collaborating with? Hence, we're coming to these platforms, and we appreciate the fact that you guys have invited us, because this is basically the beginning. Yes, FNB is being there for a while. However, the business model, like I said, has changed, and the approach is different. So that's basically to answer when it comes to what actions are we taking. There's something that Itumeleng raised and said, but now there's stakeholders around Soweto. What really happens? And there's also part where Brasibo mentioned, from a mere cleaning company. So with us having to have connected to relevant people and the rightful or the right players, that can also as well help us to know that when we go back and sit, like I said initially, there's collaboration, it's outside, there's collaboration inside. So basically, as a local market manager, I'm standing there to say that if anything that needs to happen, I can easily or quickly go to so and so and ask, now how do we address 1, 2, 3? So the system alone, we talk about horizontal collaboration, whereby it's no longer, before I speak to Mr. Chairperson's people, I have to contact so and so first. No, it's different. So in case those are the cries that we have, in Soweto, to say that how do we address these issues? What I'm saying is I'm here today. Remember, some of the things that everybody wants to know on the panel, we might not have direct answers. Things like, how do you actually help your SMMEs if they are what you call this thing, startups, and things like that. Basically, that's why I invited the two gentlemen, which is the commercial guy, the commercial relationship manager, together with the growth manager, whom unfortunately could not join. So if not, I would love, if possibly, next time, if we could be what you call this thing, invited, so that we can come with answers pertaining to your questions, because your questions are quite relevant, and it's exactly what we need. We need to know what is it that is actually needed on the ground, so that if we come, we know exactly going forward. Okay, guys, this is what the ground needs, and how do we come in and make sure that we resolve that issue? Because our objective is to make sure that this specific local market, which is now the Soweto local market, is actually developing and growing. The purpose is to grow the economy again. And I will still say that our job with the collaboration is to make sure that that value chain still happens. And then to go to Uputi at the end, who asked as well, because he was asking pertaining to exactly that. So unfortunately, my brother, with the questions that you're asking, unfortunately, Temba is not on the platform, but I know that having said that, if he was here, then I think he will give you the right answers. So I wouldn't want to just give you the wrong information or the wrong answers pertaining to that. However, there is a solution. So on the next what you call it, intervention, we don't mind, we can as well come, and then so that we can give you guys all the relevant information, because we are aware that everybody's listening and everybody's interested in knowing, okay, what is it that the FNB in actual fact is doing? So action-wise, to Itumeleng, I will still say, we are taking action in Itumeleng, and we are aware what everybody's needing in the ground. And definitely, it's all about making sure that Soweto as a whole. At the moment, you find that the areas that we go to, certain people, you may find that the doors are closed, but my primary duty is to ensure that how do I go and make sure that I open those doors and make people aware that, okay, as FNB, we are here, we are saying, how can we best assist you, and making sure that if there's any assistance that you require from the business, how can we go back and draft and say, okay, there's an answer to your question, and then going forward, this is what this is the bank that you can choose, and say, decide, okay, this is the people that I can work with. Because in honest fact, it's not about just like Brasiga mentioned, that the chairperson, that with regards to our partners, for one, you get your clicks, you get your whatnot. However, yes, those are our partners, because if you look at, those are the very same businesses that are in actual fact dominating within the Soweto as a whole. And we know our people are the ones who actually go and buy to these specific stores. So that's why if you go there, then people are still rewarded as a business. However, we also have what we call Salpal that FNB has taken over. That speaks to exactly those small businesses that we are talking about, because Salpal, it's there to make sure that in Soweto, there's a whole lot of I know foreign guys who are coming from abroad, but they have these small shops or spaza shops. The Cellpal is one of our partners, and Cellpal, it's one of the instrumental that we are actually collaborating with. And also we have Engine Garage. I know that it's a bigger partner, but there's people who own Engine Garages, and we have collaborated with those guys. That's why we see us, yes, on the reward level, we've got them to can actually get our customers to be rewarded, but we collaborate. We've got a guy sitting at Engine Garage in Kwezi. He knows. The very same gentleman has went and basically collaborated with us. Now and then we are there to help them and actually help basically with my team to help his customers to understand how does the reward levels actually speak. So it goes as far as then that we are trying to be present. We are trying to avail ourselves to people.
I think I think you've answered the question. I'd like to afford the opportunity to other panelists to also answer questions.
Okay.
I think that just for the question answered. Okay. I think there was a question raised by Sipo to Ndate Biela. Yes, I think Ndate Biela, if you'd like to answer that question, I'd like to give you the floor.
Okay, not the one that I've already addressed about collaboration and success stories.
Oh, you've already addressed. I'm sorry.
I've addressed that one.
Okay, my mistake.
But I can say,
yes.
I can say something that for more success stories, we are inviting the SMMEs around Soweto and in other areas so that they can test the model. We can test it with them, because the more we are who need collaboration with the sitters or whoever, the SMMEs should be there, because that collaboration will be facilitated on their behalf. What the supporting cooperative will do is to take the administrative part of the internship, but the playing ground or the training ground of that young person will be in your SMME. You'll have an additional labor at the expense of the government, but at the same time, you'll be investing in this young person so that our businesses have got sustainable support even beyond our life as old timers.
I'm sorry, Dr. Biela, I think there is a question directed to you. I think from Louis Koboka. He says, briefly, can you explain how do cooperatives resolve the issue of security in the case of funding for SMEs? And then before we continue, I think Mpotladi had raised his hand. If I can give you an opportunity to state your question. I'm not sure if Mpotladi is still online. Wait. Oh, let me just give him an opportunity to. My mistake, bro. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I was talking on mute. Thanks a lot. I'm from Strobens Valley. My questions will be directed to Mr. Vezi Biela, and more especially on the SITA side, to say if it can give us a step-by-step on the administrative side on how to onboard these companies that are going to form a co-op. Because on the line here, I've extended the invitation to some of my partners that are in Pretoria, around Soshanguve and Mamelodi and Montana. So how do we go about setting up the cooperative? That's one. Secondly, how the step-by-step in terms of administrative, which sitters are you directing us? Because I think there are 21 sitters around the country. So which sitters have you worked with properly, and they've not given you issues in terms of administering payments? Because at some point we've seen from big corporations that have done this sitter funding, the sitter will pay late and the learners will not be paid, and now they will have to dig into the training budget that was not dedicated for the learners. So if you can answer me on that, Mr. Bezi, thank you.
Okay, let me start with one of the security or risk mitigation, because that's the reason for taking security. If we belong to a cooperative as SMMEs and belonging to your sector, so there'll be similar businesses that will be facilitating the access of funding. We once did it in about 2004 as a pilot, where the bakeries were accessing funding that we had received from Germany. Their equipment in the bakeries was serving as good security. But security is not just for the sake of taking security, it's to mitigate the risk. One of the strategies in a cooperative sector to mitigate the risk is to facilitate the competitiveness of that small business by putting in place the bulk buying strategies where they can buy their goods at competitive rates, accessing the market which they could not access on their own, because they'll be pulling together their produce and unlocking the market in a sustainable way. Those are the strategies that are put together in a cooperative way. But with the equipment of a business, it becomes easier if you belong to a sector and you are under an umbrella of a cooperative, because if you decide not to pay because of unwillingness, not because of inability, that security is easily tradable to the other people who are within the cluster. That is how we mitigate the risk. On the other question of setting up co-ops, I've left our details on the screen where you can reach us on the WhatsApp or by leaving a comment or question on our website, where we can give step-by-step assistance of how to set up a cooperative, and also on the administrative part with the SITAs. If we approach the SITA not as individual businesses, it becomes easier for that supporting cooperatives to put together the administering team that will help the SMME to get registered with the SITA, to submit what the SITA wants. And when the stipend comes, instead of going directly to an SME, it's more easier if it is administered in their vehicle on behalf of the SMME, because it goes with responsibilities of sending reports and all such. We've only done that not within Mulumong, but we once did it with another cooperative that I was working for, where we successfully managed to deal with Bank SITA administering the stipends, the training on behalf of our members. And we took a lot of administrative burden from their operation because it was their vehicle to serve them. But I can be available for more help, because COVID has helped us to teach us to connect us virtually. You won't even require me to come to your business. We can connect even after this meeting and talk about it. It's just a matter of arranging the time.
Thank you so much, Ndate Biela. I think Ndate Tusi, I think from Bank of Soweto. I'm not sure if there's anything you'd like to add from Bank of Soweto's perspective with regards to assisting small businesses in this tough economic climate.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope I'm audible because I'm actually driving. That's why I didn't actually want to have my video on. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Good. Yeah, at the moment, we are, like I said in the beginning, we're in the process of registering CFI. We are not yet registered yet. Right now, I wouldn't say that we need much assistance, but as soon as we need some assistance, we will definitely approach FNB. and then we take it from there. But for now, I cannot say that we need much assistance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if there are any other questions that would like to be asked to our panelists. If there are, kindly raise your hand. So I can see that all questions have been answered in the Q&A. I think there was one panelist, I think, who had connectivity issues from Standard Bank, and unfortunately could not. Oh, Mpotladi, I'm not sure if you'd like to ask a question. Okay, I guess not. No. Yes. So I think today's session was very informative. I think, given that a lot of small businesses are having challenges picking up the pieces, especially due to COVID-19. And I'd like to thank the panelists for joining us today. I think, as stated, as the BMF Soweto branch, we will continue making such opportunities available so that our members and fellow business community members can come in to ask questions directly and get more clarity in order to ensure that their businesses continue to grow. Yeah, so with that said, okay, I think there are some questions. Let me add two. Yeah, Letu, please go ahead. And I've noted.
Thank you. Can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, and Kuba, if I may, my question, I'm from Molimong, coming in from the side of Ubabu Biela and others in Soweto. If I may, I'm not yet a member of BMF, but I'd like to ask a question directed at BMF, if I may.
Yes, you can.
So I think with issues of banking and raising capital and so on, I think that the gentleman who asked the question earlier was Kosinati, just following on from that question. With respect to CFIs and banks and raising capital, what is the BMF doing to educate people, its membership, people in Soweto, Black business people, Black professionals, about CFIs, about the advantages or what possibilities there are in terms of working within CFIs or co-ops? Is there anything that the BMF is doing in that regard? Because to rely on FNB and Standard Bank and Net Banks, you know, obviously we know those banks were started at a particular time for the benefit of a particular community. So at what point are we going to do the same for ourselves using the CFI structures? What is the BMF doing?
Thank you for that question. I think I will allow my chairperson maybe to come in and possibly answer your question. And if he has further questions also as well for people. Okay, it looks like Sipo is not online. I'll rely on Hector to assist.
Good evening. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Allow me to wear two hats. I won't be answering directly. I'll just give the comments of what is BMF doing. I'm talking about BMF Soweto, not provincial or national. This type of engagements, this is one of the things as Soweto Menco we started doing. That is why we're inviting everybody. If you can see now here, Letu, we already have a CFI to be registered called Bank of Soweto. Mr. Biela already has tabled Akani Soweto, which is a CFI to be. Now, from BMF current leadership, we saw a gap and a need to invite these CFIs so that engagement can be done directly, and this CFI should advise BMF on one-on-one engagement to say, here we are, let's see how we can pull, because of we believe that we need township black managers. BMF is for black management. Gone are the days where we talk black management as managers at top corporates. We talk black managers at SMME level. That's what Soweto BMF did. I hope that answers you. The second cap that I'm going to wear, I'm a Molemong member. I'm very much excited to hear that we also have Bank of Soweto, a CFI to be on the discussion. We discussed with them, we met them. As Molemong, we're meeting everybody. We met with them, we said, CFIs, come, let's work together. We have the strength of what we have started as Molemong. Being able to partner with a CFI like DIG, not only as a member, but as a partner, it's a breakthrough because of those guys can help us understand the CFIs. We're inviting all the CFIs. Already Akani signed an agreement with Molemong. Let's work together. BMF is there as a central platform. We can meet together and work. And we can solve the problem of the current economy. Some of the people who are listening, they've heard about Molemong long ago, but they couldn't join. Now is the time. Let's move. And the banks will help us because if you are going to say to the banks, give us the money so that we can give the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. That is much appreciated. I think there's a hand that was raised. Letu Madimela. I'm not sure if I give you an opportunity to ask your question, and then I've noted Lot Ngwana.
Thank you.
Oh, you are okay. Then let's go to Lot Ngwana.
Thank you, Tate Lebogang. Now, I think a lot has been said, in terms of the CFI. It is actually raising it is like a good opportunity on the horizon that is just waiting for all of us to embrace it fully and to make something worthwhile. But having said that, my initial question was around matters of opportunities, because I heard the one gentleman from FNB touching quite a bit on some of the partners, the people that they work with to realize whatever opportunities. So I was just thinking from a marketing or from a market point of view, what kind of a market do we have, saying in ever like Soweto? What opportunities are there? How can I, as a business person, be able to access that market intelligence, as it were, to know that, okay, if I go to the left here, I can come across this opportunity. So it is a generalist kind of question, but maybe Bontate Biela can also, with their own experience working in this vicinity, help us to understand how can we better be able to get market information around Soweto in particular, opportunities that are there to be invested. Thank you very much.
And Ntate Biela, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to be able to answer the question.
There are a lot of opportunities that can be unlocked, but the key is that let's use the vehicle that will lock the opportunity for us, like the opportunity of dealing with FNB, with whatever, whichever bank. If we've got a vehicle that can talk to them on our behalf and we tell that vehicle what we want from the bank, we can put together a package that can make an easy passage to access the markets. And when you get an opportunity for the market, you also get the backup funding from a credible system, not just a once-off funding, but a sustainable funding. So the answer, let's come under an umbrella that we can control. Mulimong is there as one of them, and we can replicate a lot of them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biela, and thank you to all the panelists. Yeah, I think this has been a very fruitful engagement. And as the BMF Soweto branch, we are going to continue engaging and making sure that we inform our members, inform our persons staying within Soweto in terms of opportunities available, and making access to be it FNB, Standard Bank, cooperatives, Molemo Gauta, and so forth. Bring them on board and actually meet the person that you can interact with and raise your questions directly, as we have done so today. And fortunately, panelists have also shared their contacts, and we encourage small business owners to engage. BMF is a point whereby if you are stuck, you can raise any concerns, and we will find a way to escalate them on your behalf. Yes, and with that said, I would like to thank everyone for attending this session. Please look out for further engagements from BMF. If you are not a non-member as yet, you are welcome to join us as we continue to increase the economy within Soweto, as we continue to ensure that Black business owners thrive and grow, give them support, so that in the end, Soweto can thrive. With that said, I'd like to end the meeting today, end the session now, and thank you and goodbye.